Hi. After watching the video, click the link in the description to download the program.
Now you can manifest money, your soulmate, abundance, a great job, good fortune, or anything else you want. Ultimately, to live the life you love and love the life you live. The fact is, you're already amazing at manifesting. It's true. We know this because your thoughts automatically attract what happens to you. So, the big issue with manifestation is the quality of what you attract and how you can achieve it. Your biggest manifestation roadblock? Plain and simple. It's doubt. In this manifestation video, we will show you how to stop manifesting what you don't want and create what you do want. The cool thing is, you won't need to visualize anything. Coming from ancient sources, this video includes a previously unknown attraction approach you won't find anywhere else. Only right here, right now in this video. Watch this short, powerful presentation and you'll discover why your vision board failed and an easy, unique way to fix it. A simple manifestation tip used to successfully triple income. An abundance technique that works overnight while you sleep. What all lottery winners have in common. A life-changing meditation for manifesting that works while you read it. A 1-minute solution to put your manifestation ability into overdrive. The all-important question you must answer to manifest what you want. How reading a book all by itself will automatically activate your manifesting power. Why you are manifesting chaos and how to take control. 5 emotions that produce negative manifestation and ways to transmute them. An emotion so powerful it can intercept bad manifestations, aka karma. 6 powerful emotions that attract great things and an easy technique to tap into them. How to identify and change beliefs that block manifestation. 9 ways to harness vital energy, chi, prana, to manifest things faster, and much more. You won't have to wait for a long time. In as little as 14 days, you can expect a radical and permanent shift in your thoughts and behaviors. The best part? Over the coming weeks, these strategies will have a cumulative impact on your thinking habits. Imagine having an unstoppable mindset to attract exactly what you want. And any doubts about using your thoughts to transform your reality disappear forever. Buried for nearly 1,700 years, called heresy by the Orthodox Church, and written in the words of Jesus himself. Could this new discovery be the missing link you've been searching for in your life? The thing that finally changes everything and starts to send you everything you've ever wanted? You see headlines shouting "new discovery" every day. So it's probably not a surprise that you might have missed a little press release published in November of 2017 from the University of Texas, Austin. But this press release rocked the very foundation of one of the biggest organizations on the earth, the Christian Church. And it put the final straw on a decision I've been thinking about for a long time. A decision to release information that was so controversial that I received anonymous suited visitors, a legal takedown notice, and even threatening blocked number phone calls. I'll tell you exactly what was in it in a moment. But first, I need to make sure I have your full attention. This information has the power to change everything for you, and I don't want you to miss one single second. I am very serious. If you click away from this conversation, you'll be turning your back on the key to unlocking your wildest dreams and the passwords Jesus Christ himself used to perform real-life miracles. Yes, you heard me correctly. And no, you won't find this in any version of the Holy Bible. In fact, the Christian Church has spent nearly 1,700 years on an endless crusade to destroy, discredit, and dismantle this information. Don't believe me? Just Google the words Gnostic Gospels, and you'll see. There is mounting evidence in the scientific community regarding 2 almost heretical conclusions. The first, Jesus himself was using a secret code, something he referred to as codikos, the Greek word for passwords, to manipulate the physical world around himself. Some speculate this is directly related to the many miracles Jesus was recorded as performing. The second, Jesus' teachings are directly and almost prophetically proven by the emerging science of quantum physics. I'm not here to ask you to believe something without proof, but I'm asking you to open your mind to the possibility that your entire life is built on something more than just physical reality, and that one of the most influential and world-changing men in history gave a specific step-by-step roadmap to using the fundamental power of the universe to shape your life however you want. This goes beyond the law of attraction and beyond simple manifestation. What Jesus taught and what the church has tried so desperately to bury and destroy has the power to make you a living creator of your own reality in this world. And I can say that with complete conviction because I am living proof. I use the same information to literally save my own life, and I've used it to create floods of wealth into my bank account. The most mind-blowing romantic relationship of my life, and a level of peace and happiness I thought I would never get. I've also taught these secret codes, which I have come to call quantum manifestation codes, in private workshops around the world. The results have been, well, miraculous. Like Samantha from Ashland, Oregon, who wrote, "Within days, I had more money, my transportation problems vanished, and a friend since high school who I had a falling out with over a year ago reached out to reconnect. Which is the best news of all. I may have been skeptical, but now I am a believer. I want to tell the world, I just wish I could find a church that teaches what Benjamin teaches. It's like they want to keep us dependent on them, while Benjamin helps set you free and realize your true, God-given abilities." And this, from a priest. I've changed the name and location so he doesn't lose his position. Benjamin, I can't thank you enough for your amazing work. I've been a preacher for over 20 years, and you opened my eyes. For years, I believed that Jesus' rebukes of his disciples seemed unfair. Certainly, he can't expect his disciples to do the same miracles he did. He's the Son of God. Who would have thought that a book would finally help me realize that we are all the sons and daughters of God, and we all truly can do all that Christ did, and more. In order to understand the connection between Jesus' own words, the stunning effectiveness of his passwords, and the power to control your own reality, we have to look back at history. I promise to be brief, but this is incredibly important, and I need you to know all of the facts before I share the true power of this new discovery. With over 2.2 billion followers, Christianity is the world's biggest religion. The man named Yeshua, later called Jesus Christ, is arguably the most influential man in all of history. And yet, why? Even when the days, weeks, and years of our calendar are based on the year of his birth, do we not fully understand his teachings? Even if you aren't particularly religious, doesn't it make sense to study the words and actions of the most impactful human being to walk the earth? That's what I thought too, so I started digging into the red letters of the Bible. If you're not completely familiar with that term, this is what it means. Red letters are used in most versions of the Bible to denote the actual words Jesus himself spoke. When you see a passage quoted in black ink, it was written by one of the authors of the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, to name just a few. The red letters are actual quotes from Jesus, transcribed by his disciples. As you can imagine, if you believe you are one of the 12 apostles of the reborn King of Heaven, you are going to take great pains to make sure every word is recorded exactly as you hear it. That's why Jesus' quotes often repeat themselves or use grammar that doesn't sound right when it's written, because it wasn't written, it was spoken. One of the first red letter verses that caught my eye was this. Jesus said, and I quote, "I tell you the truth, anyone who believes in me will do the same works I have done, and even greater works." John 14:12. Now, if Jesus knew he was the incarnation of God on earth, the living Son of the Creator, why would he speak those words? The living embodiment of the Creator himself was telling me that I could be greater than he was? I was fascinated. So I dug deeper. I found this passage as well. If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mulberry tree, "Be uprooted and planted in the sea," and it will obey you. Luke 17:6. Again, I'm faced with a question. Why is Jesus telling me that I can simply speak at a tree and it will obey my command? Why does he reference the smallest amount of faith possible? Surely there is an error in translation. Surely he meant to say something like, if you believe you can do something, you can do that thing. But he didn't. He said exactly those words, and his faithful apostle Luke recorded them verbatim. It would seem that Jesus was teaching something concrete, something tangible. These words stood out to me. Faith, mustard seed, say, and obey. Faith is clear. Jesus was referencing the power of total conviction. Today we use facts to create belief and faith in things. We use science. Mustard seed, though, that was odd. So I researched what a mustard seed was, and I found something very interesting. A mustard seed, at the time, was the smallest thing visible to the naked eye. Even a grain of sand could be larger than a single mustard seed. Jesus was using the language of his time to describe the smallest unit of measurement he could. And now we see he was referencing belief and the smallest unit of measurement he could. In modern times, we would use the words scientific facts and electrons, because electrons are the smallest particle of an atom, which is the building block of all matter. But wait, we discovered electrons in 1897. Since then, we have discovered particles even smaller than electrons. For example, we found subparticles called quarks, and leptons too, that made up neutrons. And then, in 2012, the world of physics was thrown into an uproar. Using cutting-edge technology, scientists discovered physical evidence of a fundamental particle called the Higgs boson. This particle is also called the God particle, primarily because the scientists who predicted its existence were calling it the building block of all energy and matter. In 2012, I saw that scientists had discovered the God particle, the fundamental building block of our physical reality on Earth. And a cold shiver ran up my spine. I rushed back to my dog-eared copy of the Bible, and I reread that passage in Luke 17:6. If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mulberry tree, be uprooted and planted in the sea, and it will obey you. I was transfixed. My eyes ran over the words again and again. My mind raced, and then it clicked. If I translated Jesus' words into modern language, I would get the following. If you have scientific facts as small as a Higgs boson molecule, which basically means if you believe in science. The first part made a little bit of sense now, but the second part was still unclear. Was this true? Was this another metaphor? I had to find out if the second half of the quote was true in modern times as well. Because if it was, I had one more discovery to make, and it was in the field of quantum physics. And I didn't have to wait long. I stumbled onto a strange, and still not completely understood, phenomenon known as quantum superposition. I won't bore you. Here's the important part. Quantum physics discovered that all particles can exist either as a wave, like a radio frequency or a beam of light, or a particle, which is a single point. The crazy, counterintuitive, and almost unbelievable truth is, these things can exist at exactly the same time, meaning a wave can also be a particle at the exact moment in time. They essentially exist simultaneously in different dimensions. I know, it gets really weird really fast, but it's also a proven scientific fact. And here's the most important part of all. The only thing that forces a particle to stop being both things at once is direct observation, which translates to something doesn't exist until we look at it with our own eyes. Now, let me ask you a simple question. What is sound? You might reply, it's vibrational frequencies moving through the air. And you'd be right. And how do humans make sound using no tools? To that you might reply, our voice. And you'd be correct. Yes, our bodies can make sound without our voice. But our voice is the only thing we control with perfection. We articulate the exact vibrations of an incredibly complex set of organs to create sound that is filled with the exact meaning we want to convey. More so than simple observation, using your voice is the way you manifest your thoughts in physical form immediately. Your thoughts are just fleeting things inside your mind. Success never comes to those who use thinking alone. But by translating your thoughts into a verbal command, science has proven that you can affect the physical world around you, even if it's in an incredibly small way. Your words literally change the world. Multiple studies around the world confirm that this is not only an isolated incident that is just funky quantum nonsense. Water is affected by sound. Water levitates. Sound affects matter. And water is affected by verbal cues. I need you to connect the dots with me here, because this is the most important part of the entire presentation. Jesus' words, when translated today, would effectively say this: if you believe in scientific facts, you can speak a command and the physical world will obey. This isn't theory. This isn't metaphor. This is Jesus' word proven in laboratories around the world by thousands of scientists. Our observation affects the physical world around us. The smallest particles in the universe respond to our direct influence. I didn't explain all this to bore you. I explained it because I need you to understand a fundamental truth. If Jesus was sharing timeless, universal knowledge with us, and he specifically told us we could do greater works than him, then we have the power of living creators on this earth, capable of manifesting and attracting whatever we set our direct intention to. But Jesus didn't just hint at this power. He created a direct, step-by-step roadmap. He laid everything out, crystal clear for anyone who knew what he was really trying to say with his teachings. And this is why the Pharisees convicted him. This is why the Romans crucified him. This is why the church threw away half of the written Gospels 300 years after his death. Do you have any idea how incredibly dangerous a human being could be if they fully realized how powerful they were? How could they be controlled? How could they be governed? How could they be taxed? How could they be made to work in order to produce goods they don't need? How could they be made to fight wars against each other? I'll give you a hint. We couldn't. If more people knew the incredible, God-given, radical creator power that was flowing inside them, we couldn't be controlled, manipulated, governed, taxed, or exploited. If you've seen The Secret, or even if you've watched the 6 o'clock news, you know that 96% of the wealth of the world is controlled by 1% of the population. Not only that, but those people are typically seen as heroes, people who created their own reality. You've seen them all. Steve Jobs was said to have a reality distortion field around him. Margaret Hazley wrote, "The people who say you are not facing reality actually mean that you are not facing their idea of reality." Reality is, above all else, a variable. With a firm enough commitment, you can sometimes create a reality which did not exist before. Albert Einstein said, "Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one." The greatest people in the world are already bending reality to their will. Let that sink in. At the beginning of this presentation, I asked you to keep an open mind, but to never believe anything without proof. Let me share some proof with you now. If Jesus was using the words of his time to describe the acts we could perform, and telling us that we could become greater even than himself, then the test of that statement is to examine his own works and see if we're measuring up, using the tools we have. Jesus is recorded as performing dozens of miracles, from healing the sick to raising the dead, and smaller feats such as controlling the weather, turning water to wine, and exorcising demons. Let's run down the list using modern science. Jesus is said to have healed a number of blind people. Using modern medicine, blindness is a disease that can be medicated, stopped, and reversed using several different treatments. According to an article in Medical News Today, we can prevent or cure 80% of cases of blindness. We use everything from contact lenses to corrective laser surgery. We heal tens of millions of people of blindness every year. Jesus is said to have cured several people of leprosy, a ravaging disease that terrified all of the ancient world, from China to Europe. Today, in the last 2 decades, over 16 million people have been completely cured of leprosy all over the globe. Leprosy is treatable with simple antibiotics. The World Health Organization will cure anyone of leprosy for free. Jesus healed paralyzed people. In addition to the numerous cures for paralyzing diseases today, we have created machines that allow even 100% paralyzed individuals to live completely full lives, like Stephen Hawking. And in 2014, The Independent in the UK published an article about using stem cells to regrow nerve tissues to allow spinally paralyzed patients to walk again. Several successful cases exist around the world, and it's the primary focus of dozens of international medical researchers. Healing deafness, menstrual bleeding, cripples, and muteness. All of these are cured today using medical devices, prescription medicine, physical therapy, and speech pathology. Hundreds of millions of people per year are cured of ailments like this. Exorcising demons. In Jesus' time, many people who were thought to be possessed by demons were exhibiting modern-day behavior that is identical to mental illness. Every year, through medication, therapy, and education, billions of people are cured of mental illness of all sorts. Controlling the weather. Jesus calmed storms, turned water to wine, and walked on water. Today, even if you want to discount the fact that every modern building has built-in air conditioning and heating, indoor plumbing, and running water, there are scientists who are seeding the air to create rain clouds in desert areas. Entire cities like Las Vegas and Los Angeles that are built entirely in the desert with water being redirected, sanitized, and controlled to support millions of people, and even sports where competitors walk on water. Raising the dead. As a final, seemingly impossible miracle, Jesus raised several people from the dead. However, just in 2017 alone, thousands of patients were healed from total heart failure using CPR. Thousands were brought back from not breathing, and hundreds of patients who were pronounced clinically dead ended up spontaneously reviving due to the efforts of physicians. My friends, Jesus was an incredible man, maybe the most incredible the world has ever known. But I hear the echo of his words in my mind when I read the news today. I tell you the truth, anyone who believes in me will do the same works I have done, and even greater works. If the words of Christ himself were telling us that we could do works similar to him, and if he was giving us crystal clear instructions on how to do it, of course the church would suppress that information. When I dove down this rabbit hole many years ago, I lost friends. I was ostracized by my church, and after I began teaching this to small groups and workshops, I actually received threatening phone calls to stop my heresy. If you think religious persecution is a thing of the past, you need only look over at Syria or Burma to see the atrocity people commit every day in the name of organized religion. No, this wasn't something I was going to get the church to change. I had to take things into my own hands. I pored over multiple versions of the Bible, and after extracting all of Jesus' teachings from the official version, I went searching for more. I asked myself, is this all Jesus said? It seems to me that a man of such influence must have said more than 30,000 words. For reference, theologians have counted the total number of red-letter words spoken by Jesus, and the number is around 30,000. For context, President Barack Obama spoke more words during his 8 State of the Union addresses alone than Jesus was recorded speaking in his entire life. I knew there had to be more, and I found more. There are 52 unofficial Gospels that were not included as part of the New Testament. Scholars know them as the Gnostic Gospels, and they contain accounts from people like Mary Magdalene, the courtesan that Jesus saved from being stoned to death, and people like Judas, who is known officially as the man who betrayed Jesus and got him killed. In fact, even as recently as November 2017, researchers found an original copy of one of Jesus' letters to his brother, James, buried in the codices found in the Nag Hammadi Library. I won't bore you with the entire history of these Gospels. Just their existence proves my point. The church tells its own story, and it isn't the whole truth. Here's what I know to be true. 1. We can control the reality around us using our thoughts and words alone. 2. The entire structure of society, government, religion, and education is designed to prevent us from doing that. 3. Jesus laid down a step-by-step blueprint to learning to control our own reality and start performing miracles of our own. If you have seen enough of the facts to believe those 3 statements, then I have done my job. And now, you're probably wondering the same thing I was after realizing these truths. How can I use this knowledge to achieve what I want in life? Of course, we all want financial abundance. We all want to see our bank account full of cash, increasing every day. We want to see our debt go to 0 and remove those nasty red numbers from our records. We want to walk into our gorgeous home and feel safe, secure, and content. We want to drive a car that makes us feel happy and successful. We want a fulfilling job or a thriving business. We want to know that our lives have meaning and purpose, and that we're making an impact with what we do. We want our romantic relationships to be mind-blowing, emotionally, spiritually, and of course, physically. We want a close group of positive, uplifting friends who support our goals and create lifelong memories. We want vibrant health, free from sickness or injury, and full of energy. We want to raise strong, smart, independent children who carry on our legacy and make the world a better place. We want the opportunity to finally be creative, like painting, writing the novel you've always wanted to write, or building things with your bare hands and feeling that sense of accomplishment. We want to travel, see the world, and share our adventures with our loved ones. We all want those things, and now we can have them, because we have the power to create that reality now, today, using our words and our thoughts. It might sound too good to be true, or it might sound intimidating. Let me ask you this. Would you like me to show how I personally use Jesus' teachings to manifest the life of my dreams? I'm fully confident you can take your new knowledge and figure it out on your own. But if you want my help, and if you want to get the shortcut that I've developed for myself and my private students, would you like to hear about how you could get it? Like I said at the beginning of this presentation, Jesus created several different passwords for himself to manipulate the physical world around him. Through careful study and years of trial and error, I've managed to take those passwords and turn them into 7 clear steps. These 7 steps became my program called the Quantum Manifestation Code. Funny story on why I call it that. I wanted to call it Jesus' Secret Code, how to use the power of God to create your own ideal life. But once the church got a whiff of what I was doing, I got swamped with letters, phone calls, and even some visits from very scary men, all with one clear message: cease and desist. So I renamed the product to Quantum Manifestation Code. That way, the church can shrug it off as a new age product and easily tell their followers to ignore it out of principles. Have you ever wondered why the church is so defensive and aggressive towards simple things like meditation, yoga, and affirmations? This is why. They do not want their followers to truly understand their own God-given power to create. And just as a warning, that's also why this presentation may not be online much longer. Try as I might, I'm just one man, and the church has 2.2 billion members. The Vatican is a global political force. The untold trillions of dollars they command could bury me alive in lawsuits. So if they come after me for this video, I'll be forced to take it down. But here's why I think you need to seriously consider getting this Quantum Manifestation Code for yourself. You now know the truth. You know that modern science has proven Jesus correct in every sense of the word. You know that you can use your thoughts and words to transform the physical reality around you. You know that, with enough practice, you can start to bend reality in your favor and truly embody yourself as a creator.
Click the link in the description to download the program.